YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking a little bit of Marcus Smart because obviously there's some sort of back and forth between people that believe in Marcus Smart and the people that don't. And as someone that's genuinely right in between, I feel like I have some good stuff to say and some good insight to provide on whether or not Marcus Smart is going to embody that point guard role for the Celtics team. Now, all the people that kind of turned on Marcus Smart and started to hate on Marcus Smart last year, I'll say, you guys were validated. That was such a unbelievably poor season from him all the way around. Like, yeah, you look at some of his numbers and some of his offensive numbers went up. Some of the things that you don't want to see, you don't want to see Marcus Smart shooting, 4 threes a game or turning the ball over, taking these game-winning shot opportunities and missing. You don't want to see that from Marcus Smart. Well, guess what? We saw that last year from Marcus Smart. So anyone that sort of turned on him, soured on him, started to hate him last year, you're almost vindicated by year's end. Like, I can't say, oh, you're wrong for not liking that about Marcus Smart, because that was the Marcus Smart we were getting. And there's sort of the crazies on the other side of things being like, oh, Marcus Smart did nothing wrong. He's such a gamer. When the game's on the line, he performs. Yeah, usually. But last year, Marcus Smart didn't. Marcus Smart wasn't the guy that was making the diving play at the end of the game. No, Marcus Smart was the guy taking a jacked 3 at the end of the game and breaking when you had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown standing wide open for an opportunity to win the game. So there's two sides to this, and neither one of you guys are right. You have to come at it from the middle and kind of get bits and pieces from each side to even start to formulate where you come out on Marcus Smart. And that's where I've come out here. So the first part of this video, I want to talk about, what can we expect from Marcus Smart moving forward? And then the second part is he going to be able to be that point guard role? Because everything we saw last year would say, no, that dude can't be a point guard for this team. That Marcus Smart can't run an offense. So first off, what can we expect from Marcus Smart? Now, this is going to tie into the second half of the video as well, but first and foremost, I do think Marcus Smart's going to kind of return back to that nitty-gritty, hustle type, grinded out type player, and the reason being is pretty simple for me. He ended up getting his money. He got his extension. He's here long-term. Technically, he's got a contract for 5 more years because that contract extension, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't kick in until after this year. So Marcus Smart has his money. He doesn't need to go out there and prove the world wrong or prove, the Celtics or any other NBA team that ever looked down on him or said that he can't play offense. He doesn't need to prove those people wrong anymore. And I think that, that's a large majority of what he ended up doing last year. He was out there trying to show that he's worth money. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can drive, he can hit game winners. But now that he has his bag secured, and it's locked in, pens to the paper, he got his extension, I don't see Marcus Smart needing to kind of play beyond himself. And everyone knows what I mean by himself. Marcus Smart's the guy that, yeah, he'll hit a big shot here and there throughout the season, but you're not looking to him to hit a big shot. Like we saw that game against the Pistons. Then I think it was a couple years ago when he took the game winner against the Kings. Then the Heat one where Peyton Pritchard had to clean up after him. The rookie had to make it, the tip in to win it. Like, Marcus Smart took it upon himself for a couple of years now to try and be this scorer, try and be this big-time player making big-time plays. But we all know that isn't Marcus Smart's role. That's not his game. And if we all know it, he sure as hell knows it. And he's even said that coming out of media day in the interviews. He's been saying he's ready to do what it takes to win the championship and play his role and do what he has to do. He's not saying, I gotta be the 3rd best scorer on this team. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, he understands now that there might be 4 or 5 scorers ahead of him on this team at this point, which is really, really good. Because now that he has his bag, now that I hope that he understands his role, and again, this is all opinion based. I'm not living up in Marcus Smart's head, unfortunately. Now that he has his bag, now that he knows his role, how is he going to play out that role? How is he going to succeed as this team's point guard? And can he succeed as this team's point guard? Because I've said over and over again, and now I think it's pretty much penciled in that Marcus Smart is going to be this team's point guard. Dennis Schroeder's going to come off the bench, and at least to start the year. Can Marcus Smart do that? Can he be the point guard? And he got asked that at media day, and I don't have the exact quotes, so I'll paraphrase, but he pretty much said, yeah, like, I'm a point guard at heart, which is true. He came into the league as a point guard. He was a point guard in college. Just because the Celtics started having, Isaiah Thomas, Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart moved to an off-ball sort of role. But throughout this entire time, we still saw Marcus Smart be an incredible playmaker at times. Just because, last year, maybe he was only doing the home run passes and whatnot and trying to be flashy. and trying to, again, put the world on notice and get that bag, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have that sort of, you know, calm, cool, collected, I can run an offense player inside of him. So Marcus Smart, the fact that he's been a point guard in the past, you're not really asking him to do anything new. You're just hoping and giving him a responsibility of something that he hasn't done in a long time. And I think that that's the biggest difference. If Marcus Smart had never been a point guard before, then you can sort of raise concern there, being like, oh, well, how's this gonna work out? But me, I'm not worried at all about Marcus Smart being a point guard, because Marcus Smart is a point guard. Like, why is that hard to understand? You know what I mean? He's transitioned to the 2, but the dude's a point guard at heart, and he's played point guard before. So I don't see why there's such, you know, up in arms concern about, oh, is he going to be able to run the offense? I think it ties back into what I said earlier about, you know, what has he done for you lately? Marcus Smart tried to earn money lately. He jacked threes, took terrible shots. Like, Marcus Smart would make 1 3 and think he's on fire, and then he'd come down and just pull up from half court expecting to make it because he made 1 3. Like, that's super frustrating. But now with his money in his pocket and his clearly defined role at this point too, like, he knows he's the point guard, I don't see that happening as often. Like, Marcus Smart's probably still going to do that because he's still got a little bit of that in his DNA, if we're being completely honest. But the frequency of it happening last year was the problem. Now I see Marcus Smart, you know, maybe doing that every once in a while, but you're not going to get constantly frustrated with him. And I see him absolutely turning a lot of those haters around and turning them back into Marcus Smart fans. That's what I got for you guys today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video, and then comment down below, what do you expect out of Marcus Smart this year? And I'll catch you guys in the next video.